start Unit 3. Your Unit 3 is Introduction to UML. Before discussing about the today's topic, Introduction to UML, before starting the Unit 3, let me discuss about CVOs and PVOs. Let us see that. See, your CO3 is, by the end of this unit, you'll become the you'll be familiar with all the UML notations, and UML is used to model the complex system. Okay, this is what you're going to learn. This is the CO3. Once again, I'm repeating, your CO3 is, you'll become familiar with all UML notations, and this UML is used to model the complex system. Here, these are the POs I have mapped. See here, PO is mapped to 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, sorry, CO3 is mapped to 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us see it. See here, PO2. CO3 is mapped to PO2. One second. PO2 is problem analysis. As you know that here CO3 is mapped to PO2 problem analysis. Here this analysis phase helps you to analyze the real world problems. Here what you will do, you will identify all the key abstractions, you will identify all the classes, you will identify all the objects and relation between them. So I have mapped this CO3 to PO2, and PO3 is design. Here this CO2 is CO3 is mapped to PO3. As here your as the UML diagrams will help to implement the complex system. In design phase, here you are going to draw the UML diagrams which will help to implement the complex system. And this CO3 is mapped to PO4. Here PO4 is conduct investigations of complex problems. Here various methodologies are used to design these UML. Various methodologies are used which helps you to implement the complex system. Next, this CO3 is mapped to PO5. PO5 is product modern tool usage. Here, as using a model tool like a rational row software, you will draw the diagrams, UML diagrams, which will help to implement the complex system. Let us see introduction to UML. These are the COs and POs. CO3 is mapped to PO2, PO3, PO4, and PO5. Let us see. See here, this is the syllabus. YB model, conceptual model of UML, architecture, classes, relationships, common mechanisms, class diagrams, object diagrams. These are the syllabus of third unit. Let us start it. See, before going right into the introduction to UML, you need to know what is model. Already I have discussed what is model in first unit, right? Already I have discussed it. Let us see once again. Students, is there any disturbance? Students, is my voice is audible? Is there any disturbance? Students? Students? Students, is my voice audible? Is there any disturbance? Okay. I will continue. See here, you know already, you know what is model, right? Can anyone explain me what is model? Anyone please answer my question. Model, what is model? Already I have discussed in first unit, right? What is model? Students already completed first unit, second unit completed. Sindhu, structure. What structure? What is model? What structure? Explain me. See, please unmute yourself and you can explain. Students, already first unit, second unit completed, right? In first unit, we have discussed what is model. structure to describe. Yes, very good. It is a structure which is used to express the complex system. 15. So, who is that? 17. Very good. Number 17, Karthik. Structure to describe complex system. Very good. 20, Kavya. It is a structure which is used to express the complex system. Rule number 6, Navya. Pictorial representation of how complex system appears. Very good, Navya. Very good. Thank you. Yes, model is a structure which is used to describe the complex system. Structure is nothing but some pictorial representation. Okay, you will explain the concept using some diagrams, some pictorial representation. What is the use of it? Can anyone answer my question? Already we have discussed in this in first unit. What are the advantages, students? Please unmute yourself and you can speak. Already we have discussed. Fast. Respond. What are the advantages? Why you need to draw the pictorial representation? Why can't you explain theoretically what you are going to develop? Yes, Karthik, very good. Navya, roll number 6, very good. For easy understanding, yes, Navya, very good. Number 54, Swati, for better understanding, yes. Instead of theoretically explaining, explain the concept. If you draw some pictorial diagrams, if you show the concept in pictorial diagrams, pictorial representation, it will simplify the reality. Very good, Kavya. Simplify the reality, simplifies the problem, and you can visualize the system. Very good. Number 19, Sindhu. 32, analyze the problem domain. Very good. Thank you, students. See, these are the advantages. Already I have discussed. See, these are the advantages. Why you need to model? Instead of theoretically explaining it, if you put the concept in diagram, it will be very easy for you, right? So in modeling, what you are going to do? Software system contains many components, right? Many elements. What you are doing here, you are expressing all these elements in diagrammatic format, so that you can visualize the system before it is implemented. You can visualize the system. What is the behavior of the system? You can visualize it. You can understand it. You can understand each and every component in the system. What is the behavior of the system? Okay, this is the use of modeling. Modeling is nothing but some pictorial representation which will express each and every element in the complex system. Okay, this is modeling. So see here, already in first unit we have discussed this models of object oriented development. Already in first unit we have discussed. Just memorize this. See, object oriented development models: static model, dynamic model, logical model, and physical model. Already you know that these are the object oriented models which are used. Okay, logical model. In logical model, what you are going to do? Can anyone explain me? Answer my question. In logical model, what it represents? Logical model, what it represents? Answer my question. Already everything is completed. About modeling, everything is completed. Please answer my question. Students, please answer my question. These are the models. Already we have discussed in first unit. What is logical model represents? Students, Kavya, number 20. Very good, Kavya. Identifies the classes and objects. 32. Mahmuda. 32. Very good, 32. Identify classes and objects. Complex system. 54. Swati. Classes and objects. Very good, Navya. Relation between classes and objects. Thank you. Thank you so much. Only few members are responding. 3 or 4 members are responding. Remaining members, total there are. See how many members? 57. Almost 50 members are there. 50 above. Only 3 and 4 are responding. Are you not studying or what? Already units completed, right? You need to revise all those things. Very good. See, in static model, what it represents, you're going to identify the classes. What are classes? What are objects? And what is the relation between them? Next, there are two perspectives of logical model. What are they? Static model and dynamic model. What is static model? Please answer. I'm not explaining this. Please answer. Already you know this. All those things. I request students to answer. I'm not explaining all those things, already completed. Just answer my question. Static model, what it represents. Static model, what it represents. Please memorize all those things. I'm not explaining this model, already it is completed. Yes, very good. 22, 522. Who is that? Jayant Sai. Very good. 22. Identify class structure. Only class structure, not object structure. 22. Only class structure. Very good. See here, logical static model, it is going here, it represents a class structure. You are going to identify, you are going to structure the class, sorry, you are going to draw the class structure. Okay, will represent the class structure. Next, a dynamic model means it represents object structure. Here logical model is nothing but which represents class structure and object structure. There are two perspectives, static model and dynamic model. Static model represents class structure, dynamic model represents object structure. Next, physical model. Physical model represents modular architecture and process architecture. Modular architecture is nothing but system architecture. Process architecture means which involves whole system and who interacts with it, users, all users, and with which the system will interact with other system, all the overall the system. Okay, process architecture means it contains overall system representation architecture. Okay, I hope you understood this physical model, logical model, static model, and dynamic model, already completed in your first unit. Just memorize all these things. Why you need to model, what are the advantages of modeling. Okay, what is model? Model is nothing but some pictorial representation of your software elements. This is model. These are the some of the object-oriented development models. These are the some of the models. Okay. Now let us see the principles of modeling. Listen carefully. One second. There are four basic principles. What are the four basic principles? Let us see these four basic principles of modeling. First principle is you need to choose best model. Okay, you need to choose best model. One second. Your first principle, the first principle is you need to choose best model. See, if you are choosing some wrong model, then what will happen? Okay, it will mislead you, and you will focus on some irrelevant issues. If you choose best model, you will focus on some relevant issues. Okay, if you choose a wrong model, it will mislead you. You will choose sorry, you will focus on irrelevant concepts. Okay, I hope you understood. First principle, you need to choose best model so that you will focus on relevant elements only. If you choose wrong models, it will mislead you. Next principle, let us see the next principle. Next principle is here, every model will express at different levels. That means there will be different levels, right? Different hierarchies. At each level, different models are used. Same model is not used at different levels. Okay, different models will be there. You need to choose different models. You need to design different models. Different models are used at different levels. Only one model you cannot use in different levels. Okay, your complex system will have some hierarchy structure, right? Okay, different levels of abstractions. It contains different levels of abstractions. At the different levels, you need to use different models. Remember that. This is the second principle. Next, third principle. Best models are connected to the reality. That means, see, if you choose best model, that will express your complex system, or that will connect that will depict the complex system. So you need to choose best model. If you choose wrong model, it will lead you to some what is that some irrelevant concepts. Okay, you will design some irrelevant concepts. It is not the system you are developing, it will not connect the system you are developing. Best models will always connect to the reality. That means always it shows, it expresses the model, sorry, it will expresses the software system you are developing. Okay, I hope you understood. Third one. Next, fourth one. No single model is sufficient. No single model is sufficient. You will use different independent models. For example, while constructing a building, okay, while constructing a building, there will be different plans, right? Just like a floor plan, just like electrical plan, just like elevation plan. There will be different plans. Just like that, in the same way, for software system, there will be different models. Okay, independent models which expresses different elements of the software. If you combine all these independent models, you will get, say, you will get the model for whole system, which represents the whole complex system. I hope you understood. These are the four basic principles of modeling. Once again, see here, first principle is you need to choose only best models. Second principle is here every model will be expressed at different levels. Okay, no single model. There will be different models. Third one is best models will always connect to the problem, connect to the reality. It will depict this complete complex software you are developing. Next principle is no single model is sufficient. Here independent models are used, different models are used. Okay, if you combine all these independent models, it will represent the whole complex system. These are the principles of the modeling. I hope you understood what is modeling, what is the importance of modeling, what are the models present in OOAD, object oriented development, and what are the principles of modeling. I hope you understood. Let us go to the UML, conceptual model of UML. First, you need to know what is UML. UML is nothing but unified modeling language. Unified modeling language. This is not at all a programming language like C, C++, Java. This is not at all a programming language. Here, this UML, this language is used for expressing uh, uh, this unified modeling language, which is used for pictorial representation, for expressing the complex system. That means you are going using this unified modeling language, you are going to draw some diagrams. Okay, UML diagrams which depict your, or uh, which expresses the complex, sorry, which expresses the each and every elements of the software system. Nothing but using UML language, it is you will express the complex system using some pictorial representation. Is nothing but some graphical language, or 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 it represents some pictorial representation. You will draw some diagrams using this language, unified modeling language, which is used for modeling is nothing but some pictorial representation. You will draw some diagrams which will helps you during implementation phase, because these diagrams or these pictorial representations will helps for expressing different elements of the complex software system. I hope you understand what is the use of UML, Unified Modeling Language. It is used for modeling purpose, pictorial representation. It is a graphical language where you will draw the diagrams which will represent different software elements. Now let us see what are the basic building blocks and rules and common mechanism. First, let us see what are the basic building blocks of UML. Uh, I hope you understand what is UML, Unified Modeling Language, which is used for modeling purpose. Let us see basic building blocks of UML. See, these are the basic building blocks of UML. What are the basic building blocks of UML? See, these are the basic things you need to understand. Please listen carefully. First one is things. First building block is things. Second building block is relationships. Third building block is diagrams. Things in UML, relationships in UML, diagrams in UML. Okay. Again, see what are the building blocks of UML? Things, relationships, diagrams. Let us see things in UML. See, these things in UML nothing but physical parts of the complex system which represent physical entities. Sorry, yes, physical elements of the complex system. Again, I am repeating things in the UML which represents the physical elements of the complex system. Let us see. There are four kinds of things. Okay, first one is structural thing, second one is behavioral thing, third one is grouping, next one is annotational things. Okay, there are four types of things: structural thing, behavioral thing, grouping thing, annotation thing. Let us see these things of UML. Again, see here, once again see what are the building blocks of UML. Things, relationships and diagrams, these are the building blocks of UML. Let us see the things of UML. Structural things, these are the static part. Okay, structural things are the static part. Okay, static part which represents some physical elements of the complex system. Remember, structural things are nothing but these are the static parts which represent some physical elements of the complex system. Let us see each kind. See here, structural things. Again, there are seven kinds of structural things. You need to remember. Once again, see here, things. Once again, see here, things. How many things are there? Four types of things are there: structural, behavioral, grouping, annotation. Okay, let us see the structural. Again, in structural, there are seven kinds of structural things: class, interface, collaboration, use case, activity. These are all basics. Without understanding this, you cannot draw the UML diagrams. Please listen carefully. These are all basics. Students, is there any disturbance? Students, is there any disturbance? As other class is going on, is there any disturbance for you? Students, are you listening another voice as ma'am is saying the class here? No disturbance? Okay, okay. Let us see. Let us see these. What is this? Once again, structural things. Let us see that. First one is class. You already know what is class, right? You already know. First, you need to see how graphically represents. UML is nothing but it is a unified modeling language which is used for modeling. Modeling is nothing but graphical representation. You need to show graphically. You need to draw some diagrams, right? To express each and every element in the complex system. So see here, these are the graphical representation. You need to know all these diagrams, how to draw it. See here, already you know this class, right? Class is nothing but set of objects that share common property. Now let us see how graphically you can represent a class. See, this is the graphical representation. Rectangle, first class name, next draw a line, and next attributes, again draw a line, and then methods. This is the class representation. Draw rectangle symbol, class name, draw a line, and next attributes, draw a line, and next methods. This is the class representation. I hope you know already. You know this, right? Now see the example. See, student is a class. See here, I have used a rectangle, some symbol, rectangle, and then first class name, and then these are the attributes: name, address, phone. Draw a line and write down all the attributes. Again, draw a line, and next represent the methods of the class. Simple student class. Attributes will be name, address, phone, and so on. Again, there will be many attributes of the students, right? Next, display is a method, add is a method, edit is a method, and delete is a method, belongs to the student class. Okay, these are the attributes and the operations that are declared in the class. Class is a student. Example, just an example. Now, I hope you understood. Once again, see how to represent pictorially, how to represent a class. Already in first unit, second unit, you have seen the classes, right? Many classes and relationship between them. Already you know this, how to represent a class graphically. Just once again see, just memorize all those things. Next, with access specifiers. Let us see with access specifier. This is a class. See here, class circle. See right side. See the right side one. See this one. Class name. See here, access specifier, private. Okay, x coordinate is private and y coordinate is private and protected. See another class access specifier, radius variable. This is protected one, and these two are private one. And see the public. In public, you have declared the methods. Okay, now let us see how to represent graphically these ones. Again, see, class circle has private, protected, public. Let us see it. See here, how many variables are there? X coordinate, Y coordinate, and radius. Now, class name is circle. Top of the rectangle, you need to represent class name. Next, draw a line. Next, now these are private, right? Private means you need to represent minus. Minus represents private. Okay. Here you need to represent only attributes. What are the variables of the class? X coordinate, Y coordinate, and radius are the variables. So minus represents private. Again, minus Y coordinate. See here, these are private, right? See the class, you will understand. Next, radius. Radius is declared as a protected, right? It is declared like declared using protected. That means hash symbol, which represents a protected. Radius is a protected, and x coordinate, y coordinate are private. As the private members cannot access outside the class, right? Radius can be accessed in subclasses, right? Now, public. Next, see how many methods are there? 1, 2, 3. Find area, find circumference, and scale. Now, you must represent method. Draw a line. After writing attributes, draw a line, and then here represent methods. Now, all these methods are declared as public, right? Public means you need to use plus symbol. See here, plus. Plus represents public, hash represents protected, minus represents private. I hope you understood. Already you know all those things. Now let us see remaining things. Yes, class is completed, right? See here, class is completed. Structural things. I'm discussing about structural things. Class is completed. Next, interface. Let us see interface. See, interface is nothing but it is a collection of operations. How to represent it? Again, I am repeating, interface is nothing but collection of operations which represents behavior. Okay, collection of operations. Let us see how to represent graphically. Circle. Draw a circle and then write down the name. See, draw a circle. Draw a circle and you need to use this one line like this. Okay, vertical line, and then write down the name. Draw a circle and represent like this vertical line, small vertical line, and write down the interface name. I hope you understood. See the examples, you will understand. This circle represents it is an interface, networking interface. Name is router. Here you need to draw like this, some vertical line like this. Here see another interface, sensor. See, you need to draw a vertical line like this, and write down the interface name. What is the interface name here? Sensor. Here interface represents collection of operations only, that's all. Collection of operations, behavior. It represents some behavior. Again, once again, see how to represent graphically. Next, collaboration. Collaboration means communication, right? Here, this collaboration represents communication between the classes and the roles, which exhibit some behavior. Why they are communicating? To exhibit some behavior, right? Some functionality, right? Here, collaboration represents some communication between the classes along with their roles. Let us see how to represent graphically. Graphically, this collaboration is represented using some vowel symbol, dashed lines. See here, dashed lines. See, all these are bases. You need to understand the symbols. Without understanding these symbols, you cannot draw UML diagrams. Understand these symbols. Up to now, we have seen class, interface. Interface is nothing but circle and the name. Again, here collaboration. Collaboration, how to draw the collaboration diagram? How to represent it? See here, oval symbol, dashed lines. Next, see, let us see the example, you will understand. See, name is visit. Name of this collaboration is visit. Which classes are collaborating? Doctor and patient. Role is patient and role is doctor only. Both are communicating. Okay. Collaboration is nothing but communication between the classes or objects with their along with their roles. Roles you need to represent which role this class or object is having. And here you need to use the collaboration name. Here, top. See here, top of the diagram. You have to use oval symbol using dash lines. Next, let us see next one. Okay, class completed, interface completed, next collaboration completed, use case. Already you know use case. I have discussed what is use case. It is a description. Use case is nothing but it is a description which has some set of operations, some sequence of operations. This use case, see here, first let us see graphical representation and then I will explain. First see graphical representation. You need to use some oval symbol. Inside that you need to write down the name of the use case. See the graphical representation, oval symbol and the class, oval symbol and the name of the oval, what is that, name of the use case. Now let us see with an example, you will understand. See here, login. Login is a use case. So to log in into the system, some set of operations must be performed, right? That means you need to enter your username and you need to enter password and then you need to submit. These are all the operations you have to do. Use case is nothing but it is some functionality or it is some description which has some set of operation to perform. Here login, to log in a system you need to do some set of operations. Okay, you have to type your name, you have to type your password and then submit. These are the operations. Next, place order. Here place order, see here, it is a use case which has some set of operations, nothing but some functionality of the system, right? Is one of the functionality of the system, right? Use case nothing but system's functionality. You will identify all the system functionalities and you will represent in use case, which is nothing but set of operation. To place an order, some set of operations need to perform, right? Okay, you know that how to place an order. I hope you understood. Once again, see the use case, how to represent graphically. Remember all these diagrams, graphical representations. Next, active class. See, active class is nothing but it is a class. It is a special class whose object is active object. Already we have discussed in second unit. Second unit or first unit, concurrent. Yes, in first unit we have discussed about concurrency. Okay, active object means the objects which communicate at the same time, which exhibit the concurrent behavior. Concurrent behavior means task executing at the same time. That means object will have multiple threads. Already I have discussed what is meant by thread. Thread is nothing but some piece of code. Thread is some piece of code which will execute independently. Separate unit of execution. Okay, at the same time several threads will execute at the same time. Nothing but active object means which communicate with other objects at the same time. It exhibit concurrent behavior. That means one object will have multiple threads which execute several tasks will execute at the same time. Here active class is represented using some rectangle symbol and then use some class name and then draw the line and then use attribute, write down the attributes and then draw a line and write down the methods. This is the class representation, active class representation. Let us see an example. This is an example. Event manager. Name of the class is event manager. Attributes are threads. There will be several threads. This is heavy one. Heavy. Okay. Several threads. Timing. Okay. These are the attributes. Suspend. Suspend is a method. Flush is a method. Just an example. I hope you understood active class. Okay. Let us see the component. Component is nothing but some physical part of the system which you can replace, replaceable part. Let us see how to represent these components. Already you know what are components, right? Which are replaceable parts, physical parts. Okay. Now the component can be represented using graphical representation. See how to represent components graphically. This is the pictorial representation. Okay, I hope you understood. See, let us see the examples. Order form.java. This is a component. Image.java. This is a component, which is nothing but collection of classes, right? All those things. This is a component, collection of classes and objects which communicate with each other. Please once again see this. I hope you understood. Next, node. Node is nothing but it is also a physical element which has some memory. Okay, memory, which has some memory and some processing power. See, again I'm like explaining. Listen, node is also a physical component which has some memory. Node will have some memory and it will have some processing power. Okay, example, let us see the graphical representation. This is a graphical representation of a node. Node, see here, this is a graphical representation, and write down the node name. Again, see here, node is nothing but it is a physical component which has some memory. Okay, and some process power, some processing power. It has some processing power. Let us see some of the nodes. Server is a node, right? Server is a node which has some processing power and memory. Internet, it is a node. Printer, it is a node which has some memory. Okay, and also processing power. I hope you understood node, which will have some memory and processing power. It is also physical component. Example, server, internet, printer, and PC, personal computer. You can draw in this way, PC, client PC, like this. Client PC, personal computer. It is also a node. Okay, I hope you understood. Next, behavioral things. Up to now we have completed structural things. See once again, structural things we have completed. See, things, in things there are 4 kinds of things: structural, behavioral, grouping, and annotation. We have completed structural things. Things are the basic element, first basic element. Things, first basic element. Okay, see, these things are called first class citizens of UML. Okay, remember, these things are called first class citizens of UML. Okay, up to now we have completed structural things. Let us see behavioral things. What are behavioral things? See, behavioral things, nothing but dynamic part which represents some behavior. These are the dynamic parts. Structural things represent some static part. Okay, some physical components. These behavioral things represents some behavior, dynamical part. Let us see, first behavioral thing is interaction. Nothing but it is some set of links. Already you know some set of links like association, inheritance, and aggregation. All those things nothing but links, right? Which represents communication between 2 classes or 2 objects. Okay, see here, interaction, how to represent. In this way you need to represent. There must be a message. You need to pass a message. Already you have seen associations, right? Aggregations, right? Links, just nothing but set of links, that's all. Interaction. Next, state machine. See this state machine here. See this diagram, graphical representation. Rounded rectangle. This is not rectangle, rounded rectangle. See, when you will use this means when an event occurred, when an event triggered. Okay, when you will use this state machines, a rounded rectangle. This is not a rectangle, rounded one, rounded rectangle. Corner will be like this. Corners will be rounded. See here, corners will be rounded. Okay, when you will use this, when events are triggered or when there is a change in state of an object, when there is a transition from one state to another state. Remember this, state machine is used when an event is triggered or when there is a transition. That means state of an object changes from one state to another state. At that time you will represent state machine. I hope you understood. Okay, these are the behavioral things. Let us see grouping things. Let us see the grouping things. Grouping things nothing but where you will group all the elements. Here you will use package. Here you will use package. Grouping things means package. Here you will group all the elements, all the UML elements you will group. Package contains some related classes, objects, all the elements you will group here. Okay, this is the grouping things. A package which contains all the UML elements like classes, relationship between the classes, objects, all those things, related classes, all you will group these things into the package. See here, a package may contain classes and it may contain some sub package also. Nothing but grouping all the elements. Example, graphical user interface. See here, this is the pictorial representation of a package. Draw a rectangle and use some symbol like this, like this. Okay, I hope you understood. This is the symbol for package. Here package, insert package name. Now next one is annotational things. Annotational things are explanatory parts of UML. Where you will use some notes, nothing but some textual content or some comment lines or some descriptions. A note, this represents note, N-O-T-E. This is a symbol for note. These are the explanatory parts of UML. I hope you understood all these things. Okay, yes, structural thing completed, behavioral thing completed, grouping things completed, annotational things completed. Okay, 4 kinds of things are completed. Okay, things are nothing but elements, physical elements. These things are considered as first class citizen of UML. Structural things, behavioral things, grouping things, annotational things. Let us see the relationship between the UML. Already you know this. In second unit we have completed the relationships, right? Between the classes. Let us see the relationships in UML. Already you know this. All these things you know this. Relationships in UML: dependency relationship, association relationship, generalization relationship, realization relationship. Again, see what are the 4 kinds of relationships which are present in UML, which are used in UML: dependency, association, generalization, realization. Okay, once again see here, there are 4 kinds. Once again see. Okay, now let us see dependency, association, generalization and realization. Symbols are very important. You need to memorize all these symbols. See, already we have completed dependency. Dependency symbol is dotted lines and then arrow mark. See, dotted line and then arrow mark, dependency. Let us see an example. See, server is a class. You need to represent class like this. Triangle, triangle, and then draw a line, class name. If you want to represent attributes and methods also. Okay, you can represent like this also without attributes and methods. Server is a class. Server is dependent on database connection. To implement the operations of server, it is dependent on this class. What is this class? Database connectivity. If any changes made in database connectivity, it will impact this server class also. This is what dependency means. See the symbol here, symbol used for dependency. Server is dependent on database, dashed lines and then arrow mark. Next, association. Already you know that association is nothing but some links between 2 classes or 2 objects. It is represented by a line, single line, which represents a link. There may be direction also. If there is no direction means it is bidirectional. If there is direction, you can represent like this also. Draw a line and arrow mark. Okay. Let us see the association. See, this is an association. Here class is person. Another class is order. Here multiplicity. See, here one means one person will order one order, or he can order multiple orders. Okay, he can place one order, or he can place multiple orders. One dot dot star means one or multiple. What he is doing, see here, placing an order. Okay, name Ruby. Ruby is an object. Person name is Ruby. Okay, I hope you understood association. If you are drawing single line means there is bidirectional. Single line means there is bidirectional. You can draw like this also. Like this means person object is invoking the object of order. Okay, in that way. Already you know that in second unit I have discussed all these things, dependency, association. Now generalization. Already you know this generalization and specialization. Where you will use generalization and specialization? Anyone can answer my question? Where you will use generalization and specialization? Where? Already we have discussed in second unit. Already we have discussed. Students, are you listening? Generalization. This symbol, where it is used? See here, this symbol, where it is used? Answer my question. Generalization. Students, are you there? Students, are you there? Students, please respond. When you use generalization? Students? Number 6. Roll number 6. Is it audible? Is it audible? Students, why you are not responding? When you will use generalization symbol? Students? Students, number 20, number 17, number 11, number 6. Yes, when you use generalization, that symbol, see this symbol, triangle and then line. When you use this generalization symbol, triangle and line, see this generalization symbol. When you use, yes, very good, Karthik. Inheritance. Why you are all not responding? Are you not able to understand or what? Yes, then my inheritance. Very good. Already we have completed all these things. Just 1 second. 1 second, please wait. Okay, see here. Already we have completed all these things, right? Generalization. See, this is the symbol which is used. 1 second. See, line. Draw a line and then use rectangle. Sorry, triangle. See here. Generalization symbol. Draw a line and then use a triangle. Okay, not arrow mark. This means association, links. Okay, this means generalization. Draw a line and then triangle. Where you have used this generalization symbol? In inheritance. See the example. See this example. See here. See, this is generalization. Triangle symbol, triangle symbol, triangle symbol, and then line, which represents generalization. Here in inheritance you will use inheritance is nothing but generalization and specialization, right? See here, flower. See this triangle symbol is pointing to flower, right? Triangle symbol is pointing to flower. That means flower is a superclass and rose is a subclass. I hope you understood. Flower, it is triangle symbol is pointing to flower. Flower is a superclass. Okay. And rose is a subclass. I hope you understood already. You know this. Remember this symbol. triangle, yes, triangle symbol and then draw a line. Next, let us see realization. See, realization symbol, dotted lines, and then you need to use triangle. Okay, dotted lines, and then triangle. Let us see where we will use realization. Already you know that generalization is used in inheritance, right? Let us see where you will use a realization, dotted lines, and then a triangle symbol. See here. See, printer is a class, printer setup is a class. Here there is realization. That means here the operations of printer class, are implemented by printer setup class. See here, printer will have some operations. Okay, you know that class will have some attributes and operations. Those operations, one of the operations will be implemented by printer setup class. Those operations will not be implemented by printer. Remember that. If there is a realization means, see this triangle symbol is pointing to printer, right? See here, one second. See, this is pointing to printer. That means one of the operations are implemented by this printer setup class. I hope you understood. There will be some operations in printer class, right? Those operations were implemented by other class. What is that other class? Printer setup class. This is the realization. Is it clear, students? Realization. Once again see the relationships, dependency relationships, where one class depends on another class. If you change any class, if you change this database connection class, any changes are made to this class, it will impact server class. Next, associations are nothing but links which represent there is some connection between the two classes. Example, see here. Next, generalization. It is used for inheritance. Generalization and specialization. This is the symbol used. Okay, this is the symbol used. Triangle and then line. Next, realization. Where one class will implement the operations of other class. Here, printer setup class will implement the operations of printer class. Okay, this is the next class. These are the relationships in UML. Okay, these are the building blocks of UML. Without knowing all these symbols, you cannot draw the diagrams. Okay, see, up to now we have completed building blocks. One of the building block things in the UML. Another building block of UML, relationships in UML, is completed. In next class, I will discuss diagrams in UML. Okay, any doubts, students? Any doubts, students?
No doubts, ma'am.
Okay, next class I will discuss diagrams of the UML, and then I will discuss the rules of UML, and then I will discuss software development life cycle. All those things I will discuss in the next class. Any doubts, students? Please respond if there are any doubts. I will explain it again. Okay, no doubts? Okay, thank you.